right, now raise your hand if you know about the Paris-Dakar Rally. Very good. Paris-Dakar, the toughest off-road race in the world. Its motorcycle winners are heroes in Europe, and some of them are coming to America. Bearing some similarity to the suburbs of Dakar, this is the Mojave Desert outside Las Vegas, Nevada, site of the Acerbis Adventure Nevada Rally. In the cooler surroundings of the nearby Excalibur Hotel, details of the event were laid out. 200 riders, a 7-day trek over 2,200 miles from August 22nd through 28th. It's the brainchild of Franco Acerbis, whose name adorns a line of motorcycle gear. He's hired Vegas motorcycle dealer and desert racing promoter Casey Folks to organize logistics.
It'll be a spectacular event. It's something that has never been introduced in the United States before, so we're very excited and very proud to be the first to be able to do that.
Danny Hamill, who lives in nearby Boulder City, will have the home court advantage, but his challengers will include, left to right, Scott Harden, Larry Rossler, and former world motocross champ Heinz Kindergartner of Austria. All right, now, if everybody rumored to be riding that event actually shows up, it will rank as America's off-road race of the year. A couple of guys on the probable entry list, Rodney Smith and Scott Summers, contenders for the National Hare Scrambles Championship. They had a pretty good battle last weekend in Northern California. It's a very nice neck of the woods where the annual Shasta Dam Grand Prix takes place, literally in the shadow of the structure for which the race is named. Jim Naylor, the local hero, winner of 6 in a row here and 8 out of 13, feeling under the weather due to the flu. Now, the Yamaha of Jan Brehor, the winner of last week's event in Tennessee, joined the national entry seeking points toward the series title. Drenching overnight rains, forced last-minute course changes left things very, very slippery. You will watch here some of the hapless victims struggling in the mud, and you should know that Summers was among those who got caught on this treacherous uphill moments after the start. And that left the Honda 4-stroke rider from Kentucky playing catch-up all day. At least he had company in his misery. Meanwhile, Smith and Naylor had a great race until Naylor was nailed by a large rock kicked up from Smith's rear wheel. Ron out for the day, and Smith's Suzuki was all alone out front. He was riding hard for good reason. The reason was the pit stop. Series champ Scott Plessinger lost last week due to a refueling mishap. No bad luck here. Smith's stop also uneventful, but Summers' 4-stroke didn't have to stop. Now, those rains we mentioned deepened the water crossings. No problem for some, big problem for others. You can pretty well assume when your bike is completely submerged and trying to float downstream that restarting it is going to present a significant problem. Now, without a fuel stop, the number 2 Summers might have won, but his handguard came loose, tangled in the front brake lever, slowed him down, and so Smith won by 20 seconds and said that race with Naylor was no big deal.
It's a long series, and I wanted to win the series overall for my first year. So even if I'd have took second, if Naylor would have won it, you know, that'd have been first for me for points. I wanted to beat Summers and Plessinger, and as it worked out, I ended up winning the race too, so that was really good.
Here's your top 5 as Smith takes a piece of that point lead he was looking for. You see the best 7 of 9 scores count. We throw out the low 2, and Smith, Summers, and Plessinger are all tied at 55. That's going to be a heck of a series. One other statistical note, Smith is the 4th different winner in 4 races this year. Now, when we come back, Doug Henry joins Jeremy McGrath in making it a Honda sweep of the Charlotte Supercross. Stick around.
The Suzuki GSXRs. First, they win more road races than any production motorcycle in history. Then, we put a license plate on them. The new liquid-cooled GSXRs, now available in 600, 750, and 1100 octane.
Sure. Unsure. Sure. Unsure. Sure. Unsure. When dryness really counts, be sure to be dry. Sure Solid has the most effective wetness-fighting ingredient you can buy. For dryness no one can beat. So you're either sure or unsure. Sure. Unsure. Be sure to be dry.
welcome back. Early in the season, Doug Henry led the chase for the Eastern Region 125 Supercross Championship, though he hadn't won a race. Now, as Art Ekman reports, Henry has won 4 in a row. Here's Art's report from Charlotte, North Carolina.
After the season's first 6 races, there wasn't a 125 rider with more than 1 win. But here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Oxford, Connecticut's Doug Henry did more than stretch his legs. He stretched his Eastern Region points lead to monster proportions. At the drop of the gate, it was number 597, Davey Jezik, with the hole shot.
I got the whole shot, and I started to fade. Doug and Ezra got around me, and they're really quick riders, and I just started to fade a little bit from the top 2.
Favorites Doug Henry and Ezra Lusk had to make their move from 2nd and 4th, but it didn't take long. For 3 laps, it was Mr. Smooth, number 16, and number 43, Yogi Lust, in what appeared would be the race of the Eastern 125 division. It was, until Ezra hit the deck twice in 1 lap.
That's getting a little slick as far as the jumps and everything. It's not changed at all because it's real hard packed. It's getting slick like Tampa was earlier in the year, and it's really throttle control out there right now.
Lusk went from 2nd to 5th, started a comeback, but 2 laps later, fell again, landing in 18th place. He would finish in 20th. Call it slippery, greasy, slick, whatever. Even in the lead, one had to be alert.
You really got to kind of set up for these jumps because it's really slippery. You ain't got that much traction, and you really don't want the back end to slide out right before a jump.
When Henry looks back at the season's end, this might just be the race he points to as the title decider. He took off, but then left behind a good battle for 2nd and 3rd. Number 28, Chad Pederson, who has 1 win on the season, and number 29, Tim Ferry, last year's Rookie of the Year. Pederson felt he didn't do himself justice.
I made quite a few mistakes out there. You know, I haven't been riding well in the past, and you know, I'm just starting to pick it all back up, and I'm ready for another win.
Ferry, who told me he's just been too cautious lately, took over 2nd with just 5 laps to go for his best finish of the year.
That's my best ever finish this year. Last year was my 4th. It was best finish here. So it's a real confidence booster. I'm gaining points on Sheik and Pederson, and I want to finish top 3 overall. I like that for the end of the year.
On the very last lap, number 7, he went head and heels over bars. That's Jeff Pastana. Henry gains his 4th straight win. A yawner. He's making it look easy.
I thought it was going to be a really good race. You know, the whole year, Ezra and I have never really been together. So I was really looking forward to a good race, but unfortunately he fell.
Behind Henry, it was Ferry, Pederson, Jezik, and Steele. With 3 more races on the Eastern schedule, it's Henry by 40 points over Lusk. Sheik's poor showing dropped him to 5th, with Ferry hoping to challenge Pederson for 3rd before the season's over. In Charlotte, Art Ekman reporting for Motoworld.
All right, thanks, Art. Congratulations, Doug. And next up, this week's Suzuki Riding Tip. In fact, it's a 2-up tip from Joe Colombero. Joe?
One of the fun things about motorcycle riding is taking a friend along. Now, some friends weigh 200 pounds, and some weigh about 101. And it affects the way the bike handles. Here's some tips on how to ride double. Have your passenger mount from the same side every time, and always have them warn you before they get off or on the bike. The passenger should always straddle the bike with their feet securely planted on the foot pegs, and remind them not to put their feet down at stops. Make sure your passenger knows that parts of the bike get hot. Knowing this ahead of time can prevent injuries. Tell your passenger to hold on to you at the waist or the hips, not by a grab bar. This is the fun part. Ask your ride-along companion to sit fairly still and act like part of the bike. Erratic shifts of weight will do funny things to the steering. So follow these tips and you'll have a safer ride. But where you find that special passenger is up to you. Hey, babe, how'd you like to go for a wild ride? For Motorworld, I'm Joe Colombero. Maybe we could go dancing or something.
All right, thanks to Joe and to Joe's friend. We'll take a quick break and come back with the Entertainment Tonight crew heading off for a weekend motorcycle outing. Stay with us.
Motorworld is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud.
The forecast calls for a red-hot spring with red-hot deals on red-hot new Hondas, along with great financing like no money down, free service inspections and appraisals, free Ride Red Honda hats, and, as you can see, lots of free demo rides and a whole lot more. Come see the hot new Hondas, but hurry. Honda's red-hot deal days end April 30th. After that, you'll be left out in the cold.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. And the patented Splitfire doesn't work like any other spark plug.
5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. Quicker in the quarter mile. A 4.8% gain in mileage.
There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more power and more mileage, or your money back. Get the guaranteed Splitfire advantage at leading automotive stores from coast to coast.
Pick up the phone for the latest sports news from ESPN all day, every day.
95 cents per minute. Call 1-900-996-ESPN.
You're watching ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
Finally, some of us here are old enough to remember when there was a certain unfair stigma associated with motorcycling. Respectable folks like me, or Mary Hart, for example, might have suffered negative social implications had we hung out with that two-wheeled crowd. Mary and I are both happy that that's all changed.
Hi, I'm Catherine Cryer.
Okay, go ahead, we're going.
I'm John Tesh.
And I'm Mary Hart, just like usual. This is my husband, Bert Sugarman, actually. And we're riding for kids today because we think it's a great cause and because it's a gorgeous day, a fun way to get out and raise money for something that's terrific.
Raising money for brain tumor research. And somebody up above made everything just absolutely beautiful today after that big rain last night. We're real happy about it.
Ride for Kids people called me a couple of weeks ago. I said, yes, I'd love to come down. They said, will you ride? I said, oh, I would, but I don't think with 1,000 cyclists or however many there are going to be, it's a good day for me to get on a motorcycle the first time. We're a little afraid about that, but so I'm just here to support the cause, basically.
Well, you know, you see the kids, you know the problems that they have, you can imagine what they must have gone through, what they must be going through, and you consider yourself fortunate. I don't have any children, but I consider myself fortunate not to be put through that situation and hope that you can help any of the kids or any future kids, help them out of the situation or maybe not get into it.
Terry Martin, Bert Sugarman just said they're going to write a check for $3,500 and that turns out to be $75,000.
I think it was electrifying when the kids came to talk to everybody. And then we heard some testimony from both Mary Hart and also from Tawny Little about how their lives have been affected by people with brain tumors. And it was really a very emotional and touching time.
This is a big guy interview. Tawny, can you help me? What do we do now? So, did you see a lot of motorcycles on the highway? Yeah. Did they look neat? Yeah. Okay. Are we on one? Yeah. Okay, great. Well, and there you have it, folks, Washington.
All right, thanks, Mike. Great interview. Got time for the rumor of the week. Former world champ Barry Sheene to ride the British GP road race on a Cagiva. It was in an Australian motorcycle newspaper. Consider the source. Also, take a look at the schedule for next week's air times. We're going to bring you the Southern California Speedway opener, CMC Motocross opener, and the art of motorcycling. No, I'm not talking about Art Ekman. Have a happy Easter. I'm Dave Spain. I'll see you next week.
Motorworld has been brought to you by Honda Motorcycles, the leader in on and off-road fun. Honda, come ride with us. Discover today's motorcycling. For the straight facts on motorcycling, call 1-800-833-3995. And by Suzuki. Right now, your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Interested in buying a motorcycle or just learning to ride one? Call now. 1-800-833-3995 for the straight facts.